Hi, and welcome to Happy Fisherman Adventures.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman, and I do it when I can. I'm a happy fisherman.
Today's episode is our adventure around Mud Island.
Yeah, and on the way we stopped at just before Prince George. We got a cuttlefish, so you're going to see that. Then we managed to break a road, so you're going to see that. So just let's watch the first video. Here we go. We at Clifton Springs and we are ready for another adventure. Today's mission was to go to Mud Island and try and get a gum shark. The weather was on our side and it was just magnificent out there. As we were approaching Jack Rabbit, there was heaps of boats around. Obviously they were targeting squid and King George, but in weather like this, where else can you be? Our first stop was just under Prince George. We were trying to get some squid here for bite. Targeting squid, it's important to be on top of broken ground, grass and sand. So I put my sea view gadget together, I put it underwater and we start looking. My very first impression was that this ground was promising. After a few minutes drifting, we already had our first squid. This squid took our banana jig, which is green and yellow Shimano jig, and this squid was only just hooked. In these kind of situations, we love our hook-em net because we can actually scoop them and point them away so we don't get inked. While we're drifting this broken ground, I always use one soft plastic just dragging along, and this time we managed to get one flathead. It was small, so he had to go back. There is no better way to release this fish but using my Ocean Accessories flicker. I didn't check my battery before I deployed my sea view gadget, so quickly I had to change the battery, but in the meantime, Mima was on something serious. Funny enough that few minutes prior we were talking about sea view gadget and broken ground and that this ground could hold cuttlefish. And guess what Mima had? Exactly that. Now I know a lot of people say they pain in the butt to actually clean them because they spill so much ink, and that there is easy ways to do it, and well, no easy ways, proper ways to do it so you don't get inked. But I can tell you they're much tastier than calamari. We absolutely love them. They're thicker, they're soft, they just
looks like a cuttlefish.
Beautiful.
Yeah, looks like a cuttlefish. It is a cuttlefish. Go backwards. I just mentioned that, didn't I?
And there she is, cuttlefish. We were wrapped. Absolutely magnificent. This one actually took our solid black Yamashita jig. That was actually a little bit of a surprise to me because normally we get them on T14 Shimano, which is a white jig, or the Clicks white jig with the red head. Those two jigs for us were the go-to when we target cuttlefish. While we were dealing with the cuttlefish, the soft plastic took off again. Another flathead. This time, much better size and much thicker fish. I was happy with that. But while we were dealing with that one, another rod took off. So now we got a squid on. So that was quite of a party happening around here.
I'll lift this one.
Yeah. Grab him in the hand before he... Well, as you saw in the first video, we ended up with a nice cuttlefish. We got a few calamaris, and TB was dragging the soft plastic, and we ended up with some flathead.
Try that sometime. So we don't have to cast. Just put a soft plastic on the back of the boat while you're drifting. The soft plastic bounce. You'll get a flathead. So many times we get King George whiting. Just amazing. Now, quick question that, well, I had a question about sea view. Yes, we don't use the sea view only to see fish. We actually use the sea view to find ground. So as you've seen it before, we dragged it along and you could see the ground underneath us. It's very important when we target King George whiting to find that grass patch and sand patch. So that kind of ground, that broken ground, it's actually where we target King George whiting. So we anchor in the grass patch and we get to King George in the sand. We moved to Mud Island. Obviously our target fish was?
Gummy.
Did we get any?
No.
So don't put your hopes up. But we got all sorts of other fish. So watch the next video. Well, as usual, it is photo time. We did drift a little bit longer, but everything quieted down a little bit, so it was time to pack up my sea view gadget, take all the rods out, and we were on the way to Mud Island. When we got to Mud Island, we set up our cameras, we set up our underwater camera, and we were ready. Yeah, you can see how important it is to burley, because once we got there, there was nothing on the screen. Once we start to burley, there was heaps of fish coming straight under us. As you can see, there were some flatties and some yuccas, and before you know, Mima was already on a yucca. We don't really like to eat yuccas, but it's our preferred bite, fresh bite I suppose, when we chase gummy sharks or snapper. They're just magnificent. The main benefit of yucca fillet over pilchard, let's say, is that yucca fillet can stay on the hook for a long time and really firm. In meantime, on my transom burley bucket, I had some here fishy pellets that I crunched, and that brought some garfish around. So Mima had another task. Let's catch some garfish now. While she was targeting garfish, I dropped a paternoster rig just a couple meters under the boat, and what do you know, I ended up getting a slimy mackerel. I did mention this in one of my previous episodes that you could cast your gummy rods and snapper rods and that and sit on your ass and just wait. But why would you do that when it's so much other fish around? Just have fun. And I tell you what, this bite you cannot buy. Fresh bite like this, it's priceless. And here we go, our first garfish on the boat. So that was a good sign. This is something that we love eating. For us, nothing beats garfish and ling. Also, as you can see, yuccas never stopped. Millions of them under the boat, millions. The trick to get yuccas and not a flathead, it was to keep your bite a meter and a half off the ground. If we drop the bite on the ground, flathead would take it straight away. Even that we saw millions of garfish behind the boat, we just couldn't catch them. They were not easy to catch. Saying that, yuccas were suicidal. They were jumping on the hook. But Mima had the patience and she was playing them, and yeah, she got some good results.
Well, there was heaps of other fish around, but TB was persisting to get a gummy shark.
Well, we tried everything. We burleyed, we done everything possible. There was banjo after banjo, then there was a Paul Jackson, you name it. But we start getting slimy mackerel, we start having fun with yuccas, so it's all fun.
Let's watch the next video.
Beside garfish and yuccas, Mud Island would not be Mud Island if there is no flathead. Definitely plenty of them around, but unfortunately way too small, so they all had to go back. In the meantime, I was filleting a yucca, hoping that I'm gonna put it out there and get a gummy shark. We had some inquiries, like this one, but somehow just let it go. Well, it didn't matter. We still had fun with yuccas, and Mima was trying hard to catch some more garfish. Also, in the mix, besides yuccas and garfish, we end up with some slimy mackerel as well. Again, best bite around. Some people love eating it, but yeah, it's just great to have fresh bite. Then we had another inquiry on the road that was loaded with the fresh yucca. For the second time, he let it go. So I don't know what happened here. I just was fiddling, and yeah, let it go. Then finally it took off. It took off like a bullet. But when I grabbed the rod, I had no shakes. It was dead white. So I knew that it's not a quality fish. Nobody likes banjo sharks, but it's their environment and we just have to respect them. While I was releasing the banjo shark, Mima got another flathead, unfortunately undersized. Underwater, we could see everything. This time, even a big pork Jackson. So, we were hoping that the gummy shark would turn up. Pork Jackson's sharks, at one stage they were protected. At the moment they are not protected, but again, it's not a quality fish that we actually keep. On the other side of the boat, Mima was plucking garfish. It wasn't really consistent, but every 3-4 minutes we had one on the boat. So still, we were happy with that. Another thing to keep in mind, we do use some leftover tuna in the back of the burley bucket. Besides just pellets, we actually mix some tuna in there, and that's actually attracting the garfish like crazy. So when you go to Portland and you got some leftover tuna, make sure you bring some bits and pieces, freeze them, and when you get out there, use it as a burley. As you could see, Mima does not use float when we target garfish. There is just a small split or sinker. An important part is to keep tension and make sure that your bite is somewhere between half a meter to a meter under the surface. As you can see, she slowly winds a little bit back, and that's just making sure that that split shot doesn't drag the bite all the way down. If it goes over 1.5 meters, 2 meters, you'll get a slimy mackerel or yuccas. But this way, if you keep it in column 0.5 meter to a meter below the surface, you'll get garfish. On the sounder, fish everywhere, from the surface all the way to the bottom. Mainly yuccas, but lots of garfish at the top and some slimy mackerel in between them. When we target bite fish like yuccas and slimy mackerel, all we do is fillet the pilchard and then cut little cubes out of that fillet, and that's it. That's all we use for a bite. Put that on paternoster rig, drop it. If we target obviously slimies, we drop it a couple meters under the boat, or if we target yuccas, we drop it 2 meters off the bottom.
One here.
The Redis paternoster rig obviously that I use has 2 hooks, and yes, you can have 2 baited hooks when you fish in Victoria. And you can see here, I just dropped it about 3 meters under the boat, and in no time I had a slimy mackerel. When you get a slimy mackerel, you just have to make sure you're in control, because if you let it go, it does big circles and it tangles all your other lines.
Well, there were lots of species around, but TB still was persisting to get a gummy shark. Instead, he ended up getting a very expensive broken rod.
I somehow managed to break my Therese. We got a big skite, and I was in control, but next moment I was holding it and she just took off and the rod snapped.
And that's not the first rod you broke.
No, I broke even more expensive. I broke a samurai as well on the same spot. That was with Brett Dennis and JJ when I was out. So this is my second rod that I broke on the same spot at Mud Island.
And that one he managed to break in 2 pieces.
Yeah, the samurai snapped in 2 places.
In 2 places,
yeah, it was unbelievable. Well, let's watch the next video. At this stage, we went live on Facebook so we can show people where we are and what we're catching. Slimy mackerel was everywhere. After checking the underwater footage, there was lots and lots of yuccas underneath. There was heaps of flatheads, all sorts of fish, but no gummy shark. And then this happened. I had my big rod onto a big skite. So my Therese was holding it, no problems. The skite was right in front of me. I already managed to lift it. She was in mid-air, and then this happened. Well, I managed to break a $400 rod. Well, we have a rod. I managed to get this kite right up. Then I managed to even return the tip of my rod. Mima cut the line and let the kite free, and there you go. As you can see, it snapped right in the middle. Well, it's not much I can do now, so let's keep going. We start catching some more garfish. Then heaps of benches turned up, so we decided it's time to move. So we moved in shallows at Mud Island and tried to get some King George. This plan worked. As we got there, not even 5 minutes in, even that here it's only about meter and a half depth, we actually managed to get our first fish. Mima said it's quite big King George, so we didn't want to lose it. I grabbed the net, I moved some stuff out of the way, and yeah, let's see what we got. It wasn't massive, but we were happy with that. This King George was promising. So once we unhooked it, we actually tried again and again. So we managed another one after, but that was it. We had 2 fish before again. Banjos and every other species came under the boat. So at this stage it was time to pack up and leave.
Where is the fish?
Well, again, Portland first, barrels. Marco Sharkman just sent us a picture. He got heaps of school tuna. It's just amazing. It started to actually fire up, so it's great. Port Mac. We normally do Victoria. Port Mac is just over the border, a little bit over the border, in South Australia. Big barrels. Tuna to 150 kilos. It's unbelievable.
Port Fairy is the same?
Port Fairy actually schoolies and odd barrels. It's not as consistent, but there is fish there too. Saying that, Correa Bay, we got beautiful whiting. Actually took some ladies out. We got some beautiful whiting. There is heaps of good sized flathead, pinkies, you name it, all around there. At very big pier the other day, they actually managed to get pinkies, like big sized pinkies on chicken. So that was another wow factor, I suppose, because there was beautiful fish. Big snapper, middle of the bay.
Garfish?
Everywhere. You name it. Like they get them in front of Point Riches. We got them in Swan Bay. As you've seen before, we got them at Mud Island. If you burly hard, they will come. Definitely.
Squid?
Okay, squid has been tough. But odd squid around Prince George, quite small. The decent size is all around Mud Island. Today's happy story is Alana and Sue. Alana bought from us a Seamaster 539 at Geelong Marine World, and my job was to actually get them out there, show them how to launch, retrieve all the safety tips, and of course, do some fishing. We launched at Clifton Springs, and the weather wasn't that promising. It was a little bit choppy, but it was good because this would give them a bit of a confidence in their boat. After showing few safety tips and few actually tips about the sounder, we were on the way to Corio Bay. As you can see here, we moved out of the way of that big ship, and we were waiting to just go through that passage and fish in shallows in Corio Bay. We had some blue bite, we had some pippies, and we were ready, and before you know, we were on the fish. The first fish wasn't that big, so I had to go back, but then after that we actually managed some nice fish, and the ladies were happy. Both of them, Sue and Alana, were bringing fish after fish. Alana did a lot of fishing with her dad, so she had quite a bit of experience, but she was surprised to see the technique we use when we target obviously King George whiting. As you can see, it was a bit bumpy around us, but they were happy. It didn't matter. We were catching fish and they were very happy. To see people happy, I tell you, it's priceless.
Little bit of... Go,
I do have to mention that when we got here, we actually had to make a couple moves to get on the right spot. If you feel that the sinker's dragging into the grass and that, it's going to be very hard to catch a King George whiting. So we managed to find a sand patch, and as you can see, we were on fire. In the meantime, the weather wasn't on our side at all. The clouds were dark, it started raining, but we didn't care. We were catching fish, and that was all it mattered. Some of the King George was close to 40 centimeters, and we had quite a few already. At one stage, we were plucking them left, right, and center. The sinker hit the bottom, bang, fish on. In the mix, surprisingly, we managed one rock flathead as well. This flathead, you can tell the shape of it, that's a little bit different than the standard flathead that we catch here, but they are very tasty fish. We were here for about 2 hours and the rain got heavier, so we had to slowly pack up and we were on the way back to Clifton Springs. Alana absolutely loved the boat, the way it's handling, even in the chop, having an electric anchor, all the goodies that this actually boat delivered, she was quite very impressed. At the boat ramp, I got Alana to drive the boat back on the trailer, and she done it with ease. Another happy adventure with happy people.
Perfect. Little bit more. Okay, that's enough.
Thanks again for your support, guys that purchased our merchandise. We really appreciate it.
And once again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and we will see you next week.
I hope, I dream, I wish to catch a big fish.